Hello and welcome to AM Languages afternoon lesson. It's just gone 4 o'clock with me, Richie. I hope you're all having a good day wherever you are in the world. If you are watching this either live or later, make sure you follow the lesson in the live chat section because that's where the action happens. As always, guys, make sure if you are new to subscribe to the channel and like the video as well. And on top of that, if you want to find out more in terms of how you can have physical live lessons at AM Language, make sure you go to the description section below and click on the links to the website and our social media sites as well. So, good afternoon, Evelina. Buono pomeriggio. I hope you're doing well. Irina F. Privyet. Good afternoon. Welcome back again to another lesson. Thank you for joining. Alida says good afternoon and buenos dias from where you, in terms of where you are in the world. Alida. LBS.com. Lovely to see you here. Buenas tardes. How am I? I am okay. Thank you very much. I'm not too bad. Where I am in the world at the moment, the weather isn't great. It's 1 minute it's sunny, next minute it's cloudy and raining. So the weather where I am at the moment is what we would say is topsy-turvy in English. I don't think I've mentioned this one to you guys before. Topsy-turvy. Yeah, topsy-turvy. It's a good one to know. Topsy-turvy. It is an adverb. I should tell you that. It's an adverb. There you go. Topsy-turvy. And it just means it's like a seesaw. Things are going up and down, up and down, up and down. So it's not consistent. It's not steady. It's topsy-turvy. So you're not consistent, or something's not consistent. So if any of you go to, I tell you what, a really good example is Melbourne in Australia. Now, if you haven't been to Melbourne in Australia, I do recommend it. It's a great city and it's a lovely part of Australia. But in Australia, you can have all 4 seasons in one day. You can have winter, you can have autumn, winter, spring, and summer in one day. So the weather in Melbourne is topsy-turvy. It's everything. You yourself can feel you can be topsy-turvy as well. If your emotions are up and down, or the way you feel is up and down, then you can say, I feel a bit topsy-turvy today. So that's a good word that's a new word for you guys, topsy-turvy. Now, in today's lesson, we are going to look at how to write a cover letter. Now, a cover letter for jobs, knowing how to do it is really important. And I'm going to take you through a step-by-step process of what you guys need to make sure you do. And we can adjust it according to the level of your English as well. I think the important thing to know about when writing a cover letter, when you're trying to write it in English, is, I would say, there's some things I would say. One, try and keep it simple. Don't try and make it too complicated. You want to make sure that they understand. So you might think, I'm going to throw in this grammar point or this word, but it might not be the best thing. We need to make sure that whatever we write, whatever we put on the paper, makes sense in some sort of way. We can understand it. And then the other expression, and this is a good expression, less is more. When we say less is more, it means there's more information sometimes in less content. Um, Sometimes people might say or write a lot, but it doesn't mean they have said a lot. So, quality over quantity. That's another way of looking at it. Quality over quantity. So these two phrases have a very similar meaning here. Again, I would say it's the same for many things. It's a bit like, do you want a lot of food? That's not very good. Or do you want a smaller amount of food? That's really good. Same with wine as well. Less is more. Quality over quantity. So let's get in it. Let's get into this straight away, and we can go through these steps so we get this right. So when you write a cover letter, um, the first thing I would say that it's very important. There's different ways of going about it, but typically speaking, if you do put it on a let's say a Word document, at the top you would have your name, and underneath in smaller writing you would have your personal details, just as you would do normally if you were writing a CV or resume, depending if you're using the UK English or American English. But you would always have that at the top. On the left hand side, you would then, typically speaking, you would then have you would have the date, and then you would go into your actual letter. Now, it does help if you know the person who that you are trying that you need to address. Now, this is the first thing. Who is the person you wish to address? Now, what does this mean? In this case, it simply means, who do you want to write to? Or do you know the name of the person you are writing to? So let me make sure that we all understand this. Who is the person? Who is the person you wish to address? This has the same meaning as, who do you want to write to, or do you know the name of the person you are writing to? This is really important. It's always better if you do know the name, but if you don't, then sometimes it just becomes a little bit more difficult. But we're going to go on the idea that we do know the person that we need to address. So in my example, we're going to go with, yeah, Mr. Let me think of what's a good, yeah, it could be like, dear Mr. Blogs, for example. Alida says, sorry, what's the difference between a cover letter and a CV? Good question. A cover letter, Alida, is a letter that introduces who you are and why you are applying for this job. It doesn't have a lot of detail. Your CV actually is the thing that has all the detail in terms of your past work experience, who you worked for, when you worked for, your qualifications, and so forth. So your cover letter is much shorter. You don't want a long cover letter. You just want to make sure your cover letter is a letter that introduces who you are, why you're applying for the job, and why you think you would be why you would be good for the job, really. So, and that actually kind of formulates, that kind of gives us that structure that we need to go in with. So once you know who you're addressing, this is the first thing then we need to go into. You need to, first of all, so number one, you need to give them a brief. Now, brief is short. That's another word for short, okay? A brief idea of your work experience. Okay, and who you are. Okay, so that's the first thing that you need to do. That's number one. Number two, you then want to be able to try and give them an idea of your skills. Okay, what are your skills? What are your what are we would also say are your what are your expertise? Now, when we say expertise, a simple way of saying it, what you are good at. I mean, that in simple English, expertise is what you are good at. So then we need to go into that section. And then finally, we then want to finish off by just maybe, what's the best way of explaining this one? I would say number three, give a brief background. Now, background, explanation, okay. An idea, that's another way of looking at it, on your current job, or if you don't have a current job, or your role in your last job. Okay. Role, by the way, is what was your job title? What was your responsibility? What did you do? And then you finish off by with number four, whereby you finish off by with the telling them to mention your CV is attached to the email, or to the email, because you would send this all by email, as well as finishing the letter in a proper fashion. Now, when I say proper fashion, I mean the correct format. So this is going to be a formal letter, so you finish it with a formal style. The other thing we need to make sure is, guys, don't contract your words. So go with I have been instead of I've been. Go for the full English. Don't contract your sentences. Don't go for this. So don't go with I've been. Say I have been, or I have worked. So we need to go for full sentences. So let's start off by looking at the type of things that you guys can do to give them a brief idea of your work experience and who you are. I forgot to mention here, actually, and why you're applying. I can't believe I forgot that. So let's look at number one. And why you are applying. Can't believe I forgot that. It's one of the most important things to include. Now, I'm going to ask you guys to try and write your own version for me, and I can have a look. What I would like to tell you is the type of, I'm going to give you an example, but what I would say is you don't need to worry a little bit too much. When you are saying idea of your work experience, why you're applying, that sort of thing, as an example, you can go with this, okay? Who you are, your experience, and why you are working. So let's say you're applying. I'm going to go with the teacher position because it's just easier for me. Okay, so I am I'm just going to put in brackets anything that I'm using that might be slightly different from the simple version. Uh, okay, here we go. Let me just make sure I sort this one out. And I'll explain a little bit of terminology. Okay, so if this were me, I would go in, first of all, talk about myself briefly. I would say I am a highly dedicated teacher, and I have been a teacher for the last 8 years. So as you can see, I've gone in with a present simple plus a present perfect. I've used this word highly. Highly just means very, but it's very strong, and I do recommend using it. And I have been a teacher for the last 8 years. So this is a nice way of introducing yourself. And dedicated is someone who loves their job, who is, committed to their job. So that's a good one to go with. Then I'm going in with a past simple here, just explaining what happened when I saw the job vacancy. Now, a job vacancy is a job advert. So when I saw your job vacancy, and I should have put the job requirement, I forgot the article, and the job requirements. Um, so that was silly of me. And the job requirements, I could see that I am well suited to the position. So when you're saying well suited is really important. It's a good one to know. Well suited, it simply means very good for the job. Now, there's different ways of writing that. But when I would say if I were to do that again, I would just probably add a comma. When I saw your job vacancy, and you could probably take out job second time. I think I can improve that. So when I saw your job vacancy and the requirements, um, I could see that I am well suited for the job. So yeah, we could go with that. You could even actually just improve the grammar of that sentence, to be honest. Yeah, I think we can improve this. I'm just going to improve this just a little bit now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more. I think you could even go with this. Seeing the job vacancy and the requirements, comma, I could see that yes, I forgot am good for the job. That I am. Okay, so what have I done here? I've gone with I've gone with a present simple plus present perfect. And then for the second bit, I've changed it. I want to remain in the present. That's why I've just changed it a little bit. To do this, I take the verb see and put an ing on it. So seeing the job vacancy and the requirements, comma, I could see that I am well suited for the position. You could play around with could. You can also put that in as a can. I can see that I am well suited for the job. So that would be a good example for your opening sentence. So your introduction. So in your own time, have a go. Think of the work that you do and see if you can write your own introduction to a cover letter. Have a go. Take your time, and I will have a look at it. Because it's really important. This is probably what I would say is This is in the section that you've got to get right, and this is why less is more. You don't need to write a lot. In total, I've only really written 2 sentences, really, because you can do this in 2 sentences. But in 2 sentences, you can say everything that you need to say, because you're going to be specific. You're going to say, I am a highly dedicated engineer. I'm a highly dedicated nurse. I'm a highly dedicated doctor, lawyer, whatever the job is. And I have been a teacher for the last 8 years. This is a really important bit. Use the present perfect to explain how long you have been in an industry. So perhaps you've been a lawyer for the past 10 years. Perhaps you have worked for different businesses for the last 5 years. Maybe you've worked for 2 different airlines, whatever it might be. But use the present perfect to give them an idea of how long you have been in that industry. Really important. Or not necessarily industry. Let's say you've changed from industry to industry. Maybe it's more of like a job role. So you could say, and I have been in marketing for 8 years. Now, if you take something very general like marketing, finance, it could be in any industry, really. So try and think of what is the most consistent thing you've done. It could be just customer service, for example. But use the present perfect to give them an idea of how long you have been working in either in that job role, that area, that industry, whatever it is, but go for that. The second bit is really good. As you know, I changed it because I went with the past simple, but when I looked at it, I thought, no, it's probably just better to keep and try and remain in the present. So you can go with this. Now we've had lessons on this. You can start your sentence with a verb with an ing. It's actually not. It's something that you can easily do, and you can do it with words like seeing, for example. So seeing the job vacancy and the requirements. Requirements is obviously what the person is looking for. I could see, or that probably would be better if we say I can see. Actually, remain consistent with that. I can see. I can see that I am well suited to the position. Now, position, by the way, is another word for job. I am well suited to the position. I am well suited to the job. It means I am good for the job. This is something I can do. So let's see what you guys come out with, and then we'll move on to the next bit where you guys can have a go at writing the next bit. Like I said, guys, keep it easy, simple. Write according to your level. It doesn't matter if you are pre-intermediate, intermediate, up intermediate. Have a go in the live chat section. Try and tell me. Try and tell me a little bit about this. It does help. If you guys are finding it too difficult, just tell me in the live chat and we can break this down even further. But one of the things I would say is that when people share their work, it is easier. It's sometimes better for a teacher. It's sometimes better for a teacher because the teacher can actually sees what the student is producing, what the student is writing. That's why it's so helpful to see what a student is doing. So Alida has written, I'm a highly dedicated accountant and I have been working in the field for the last 15 years. Very good sentence. You've used a present perfect continuous. Nicely done. Seeing the job requirements, I consider that I am well suited to the position. Yeah, And Alida, that would be a very good way of introducing yourself. So well done there, Alida. Let's see if anyone else would like to come in. And if not, we will move on to the next section. So, but that's a good opener. That tells the person everything they need to know when it comes to an introduction. Okay. Now, if we just remind ourselves your skills, there's an easy way of going around this. And this is something called, if you want to do this as briefly as possible, you would use bullet points. Okay, so let's just have a little look at this. Skills. This is the easier bit of the section, really. Number 2, skills. You can go with something like, um, there's a few ways of doing it. I don't want to make it too brief at the same time. Yeah, I think we could write this. My area of expertise and experience are as follows. I think this would be the best way of doing it. It's not too long and it's easy to remember. Okay, so for number 2, what we can do is this. You just go with this and then you go into a bullet point structure. So my area of expertise and experience are as follows. So you then go into this kind of bullet point fashion. So here you could then go into things such as, let's say, what did I put? Teacher. Okay, so teaching all language levels, teaching exam English courses. Let's go with teaching business English. And then let's put in something else here. We could say familiar with interactive whiteboards. So I'm just writing this for myself a little bit. This word here, what have I put at the beginning here? Okay, and that's why I forgot the I. So, what comes next? So, as you can see, the next bit's skills 2, a lot easier. Have a go. Try and tell me what your areas of expertise and experience are. What your experience is. Your area of expertise and my area of expertise and experience. Wait a minute. Okay, so this is what you can do. It's just a bullet point. That's all you need to write. Something along those lines. Oh, wait a minute. That's what. I thought there was something wrong there. Thought I had made a mistake. Is, not are. My area of expertise and experience is as follows. Of course, because I'm putting down experience and expertise. expertise and experience. I'm not putting the plural, therefore it should just be is, not are. That was silly of me. So yeah, this is what you would do. My area of expertise and experience is as follows. And then you rattle, sorry, I should change my, and then you go through the points by points in just a bullet point. Teaching all language levels, teaching exam English. So if you're in finance or accounting, you would say, for instance, something along the lines of maybe tax returns, but what are they called? Being a notary, whatever it might be, and you just go through and you want to give a decent overall idea. It's nothing too complex, it's nothing too difficult. Like I said, guys, before, my area of expertise, so this is what you're good at, and your experience, they kind of go into one. You can always summarize this in a slightly different way. You could say, I excel in the following, let's say you're going to go with something different. You could change the beginning bit to I excel in the following areas, which means you do really, really well in. There's a few ways that uh, you can introduce your skill set. Okay, but yeah, you don't need to be too complicated about this. You want to be as brief as possible. So my area of expertise and experience is as follows: tax returns, balance sheets, audits, salary statements. Yeah, that works, a leader. So if that is in a bullet point, that works very well. um, Again, you don't need to say too much. The danger of writing a cover letter is writing a lot that doesn't need to be said. So let's see if anyone else comes out with anything else. Maybe they would like to add their own thing. And then we'll move on to the next section. Bullet point. Yeah, a bullet point. What's the best way to show you guys what a bullet point is? So this year would be a bullet point. So if you've got writing afterwards, that's a bullet point. It should be that way for you guys, actually. So you've got your bullet point, and then you've got your skill, bullet point skill, bullet point skill. That's what a bullet point is. Okay. So guys, now let's just remind ourselves, what did I put down for number 3? Give a brief background explanation on your current job or your role in your last job. For this one, I'm going to invite you guys to try and complete this for me. Okay, so let's see how you guys do. Oops. Let's go with Okay, let's go for something like this. Let's see what you guys do. Now, there's lots of different reasons why, but here we go. I think this is a nice way of looking at it. So I'm going to give you clues in terms of the type of words you need to use to complete these three ones. Okay. I'm going to give you 6 words, but you can only use 3. Oh, wait a minute. I've noticed there's a mistake there. Let me just post that again. Okay. At. So let's see what you guys write. Okay, so you've got 6 options there, but only 3 can be used. Choose the 3 that you think you can use to complete that. And this would be one example of how you could end a cover letter. Now, it does depend your reason for looking for a new job. It could be because you are moving to a new location, you're looking for a promotion, whatever it might be. But again, it doesn't need to be too long. It can be short. And like I said, as we have seen today, you don't need to write a lot in order to say what is important. So let's see what you guys go with in order to complete this one. LVS.com has gone for currently. Let's see if others agree with you, LVS.com. Now, I'm sure you guys do something very similar in your own language, probably just a different name. I don't know if the content is different. That's the only thing. I do know that if you are applying for a job in Europe, and you are right and you want to write a CV, you can find lots of European standard CVs and stuff. Um, so it doesn't matter where you are in Europe, you can just apply with the same thing. Alida's gone for currently. So LVS.com and Alida agree that number 1 is currently. Alida has gone with looking for 2 and moving for 3. Evelina agrees that the first one is currently. I currently work at X, or I currently work for X. It could be both. Both would be fine. Good. Yeah. Currently is the first one, and currently is an important adverb to know how to use. So that's a good start. Do you guys agree with the leader? Is it looking and moving? Is it looking and moving in order to complete this? Let's see. And then and yeah, then it takes you pretty much to the end of your short cover letter that can say everything that you need to say. Eldar, welcome to today's lesson. Thank you for watching. If you I don't know if this is your first time actually, but if it is, thank you for joining, and make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video. So Alida agrees that it's currently, but disagrees with Alida. LVS.com thinks that number 2 is also looking as well. So we'll see in a bit who is right there. Of course, looking, seeing, traveling, moving, very similar words, but still there's a difference in terms of meaning. Evelina agrees that number 2 is looking. Okay, and so guys, let me know what you think about the last one, moving or traveling. Don't forget, if you're going to live in a place, then it's moving. If you are visiting a place, then you are traveling. So there is a difference there. There is a difference. In this case, the difference is seeing would still be seeing, sort of thing. Looking, in this case, this is going to be more to do with you are searching, really, in this case. So Alida said the Manchester or just Manchester. Oh, I see. Thank you for pointing that out, Alida. I didn't realize I put an article there. Terrible mistake. No, it is just Manchester. You do not need an article with Manchester. I was probably going to write the area rather than Manchester. So yes, no, please. There's no article with Manchester. That's a mistake. LBS.com agrees that the last one is moving. So answer 1, answer 2, and answer 3. So I currently work at X as a teacher trainer, and I am now looking to change schools as I am moving to Manchester, which is close, to the location of your schools. Dear me, okay, so I forgot the 2 there as well. It's quite difficult sometimes to see what you have written in the live chat section because of how small it is. So yes, guys, that's it. 1 is currently, 2 is looking, 3 is moving. So that takes you to the end of your cover letter, where you would then say, please find my CV attached to the email. That's how you would always go with it. Please find my CV attached to the email, and then you'd finish off with kind regards, and then your name. Okay, in this case, let's go with John Brown, for example, whatever your name is. And that's it, guys. That is what a cover letter is. You don't need to write a lot of words. It doesn't need to be long, but it just needs to be very accurate in terms of telling the person what your background is, what your expertise are, why you're applying for the job, and so on and so forth. You're just covering those basics. Can you use yours sincerely? Yes, you can definitely use yours sincerely. I would actually add first time round, actually. You make a good point. First time round, go with yours sincerely, actually. First time round, go with yours sincerely. Afterwards, go with kind regards. But first time round, yeah, go with yours sincerely. That's probably the better one. Difference in UK, you would use, we would go with yours sincerely. In American English, they just go with sincerely. I'm pretty sure, anyway, that they go with that. But yeah, yours sincerely is the best way to go for it. But in American English, they just use sincerely. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. That is how you can create a cover letter, a basic cover letter in English that can help you apply for any job. So make sure you save the important points from today's lesson. Like I said, you don't need to make it complicated. It does not need to be long. It just needs to tell the person what they need to know, and then your CV is the thing that then has to do more of the talking. So guys, thank you so much for joining today. Tomorrow is Friday. And what are we doing tomorrow? Because I have already forgotten what we are doing tomorrow, which is not surprising because I always seem to forget after I post. Tomorrow, Film English, vocabulary building. So I will see you guys there tomorrow. Alida says, thanks, Richard. Take care. See you. Thank you, Alida. Irina, thank you, Richard. Have a nice evening. You too. and LVScom. Thank you a lot. See you soon. Thank you very much, LVScom, and thank you everybody who was watching. Thank you, Evelina, as well. Eldar, thank you for joining us today, and anyone else who participated in the lesson today. Arena F, yes, I did say that. So, bye, guys. Take care. See you tomorrow. If you're new, subscribe and like the video and share. Bye for now.